Okay, so guys, we're gonna do another cooking video for you today. My mom taught me how to make this a long time ago, but I've never ever had a chance to make them on my own. And she made some tonight, so she's gonna show you how to make them. And tonight we're making tamales, if you read in the title there. Okay.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to decide what kind of meat you want to use. So you can decide you can use chicken, or if you like pork, or you could even use shredded beef. First thing you want to do is decide how much. Usually when I make them for Christmas time, it's about 8 pounds worth. So I cut them up so they're small, put them in a pot, and you're going to let them cook. You're going to put flavoring in there, okay, with water. You want to put at least half an onion, garlic to taste, and salt, and let them simmer for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours until the meat is so tender it just basically falls off the bone if you have bone in it, or it just shreds easily when you tear the meat apart. Once that meat is done, then you set it aside. And then you have to start preparing, or while the meat is cooking, you want to start preparing your chili sauce. What goes in the chili sauce is you have a combination of Mexican chilies. Here we have the pasilla chili. This is for those that like a little kick in their chili. This is one of the hotter ones. Okay, you can see it's all shriveled up. The more shriveled up, the more spicy it's going to be. This is your California for those that can't have a lot of spice. It's the milder of the chilies. And then here's your New Mexico chili. As you can see, it's darker. Same thing, it's fresh chilies that are dried out, so they become a little shriveled up. And I usually blend all three to give it that flavor, just a little bit of kick. And if you want to kick it up one more notch, then you want to do the hot chili, which is a little chili de árbol that's also been dried. And this really makes it a little more spicy if you can stand the spice. And then what I do is I put it in to the pot and let it simmer. I also want to include, these are what we call tomatillos. You'll see them in the grocery stores. They look like they have a little skin on top. You peel the skin off, and then you just put it in, and you let them simmer, and then they kind of get all soggy like this. As you can see, they're not shriveled up anymore. Once that's done, then what I do is I'm going to devein them because you don't want to put the stem inside. So you want to take the stems off. Okay, so take it out the top of it. Okay, and as much seeds. The spice is where the seeds are. So if you don't want too much spice, you want to take the seeds out. Okay, and you just grab them all and then let the seeds come out. And then pop it in your blender. Okay. Seeds will automatically come out if there's some in there. So you want to keep going till you get them all out. See how easy they just pop off? Just drain them as much as you can. Just please remember when you put them in to simmer, to boil, you want to make sure you wash them first, because you're actually going to use the liquid that the chili provides once they're done cooking. That'll also help you to, when you blend them, to get the right consistency. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oops. Pull that out. Here's a hot one, it goes in all by itself. Here's another one. Drain out the seeds as much as you can. Here's our pasilla one. See how much it expanded? It's a little dark, but that's, like I said, the spicier of the three. Put that in there. Okay. This is what they're looking like. It's all a mixture of the chilies. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put in the rest, which is also the tomatillos, little green chilies, the tomatoes that I talked to you about. See, that's them right there, and those are going to go in there too. And they add a wonderful little tart taste to the sauce, to the seasoning. Excuse my hands, but they're clean. It's easier to grab them this way. See, nice and tender. They've been all boiled. Okay. Now we've got them all out. Now I'm going to use some of the juice, because you need some of the juice to, I don't want to get the seeds in there. Alright, so we're going to put some of the juice in there so that it's not so dry, so it has something to mix. So I'm going to pour about the juice about halfway through. And then you still need to add a few more ingredients, so I'm going to grab the garlic. Because I use so much garlic in the house, I always keep fresh garlic. You can buy any kind of minced garlic, or you can even buy the cloves. I like to use it already chopped up like this. It's much quicker. You want to put garlic to taste, and that's about a tablespoon, I would say. Okay. Also want to include a little bit of onion. I'm going to add some onion also, and then you want to add some salt, obviously, for taste. Usually it's about a teaspoon or so, not too much. Okay, now we want to go ahead and get ready to blend, so we're going to put that in there. Okay, I'm going to turn it on, and I actually want to puree, so I'm going to hit my puree button here. See how it's looking. Okay, as you can see, it's got a nice consistency. I probably could stand a few more minutes blending. As you can see some of the chili skins in there still, and obviously the seeds. But we're still going to strain this once we're done. We'll go ahead and put it through a strainer to get rid of all the seeds, so you don't have that when you're eating your good tamales. So I'm going to let that blend for a few more minutes, and we'll be right back. I think we got the right consistency now, folks. I added a little bit more liquid from the juice that was left over in the simmering to make it a little more liquidy. You didn't want it too thick. Now I'm going to go ahead and drain it. Before I do that, I just want to show you something real quick. The typical Mexican sauce that's usually made, also because they also like more creamier consistency like mole, they actually add pumpkin seeds. Okay, and sesame seeds, and actually even peanuts. And I just wanted to show you that. That's another thing that you can also integrate into your sauce if you wanted. But just like this, it tastes just the same. It tastes just as good. I'm going to put that in little by little, and you have to drain this obviously. So I'm going to grab a big spoon so I can squish it out, if you will. Okay, so basically I'm getting the juice. And what's going to be left is all the seeds from the little green tomatillos and the chilies. There's going to be a lot of seeds left over. You don't want to have that in your food. That would upset your stomach if you're sensitive to hot food. This way, without that in there, you can enjoy your food without being anxious later or getting heartburn. It'll help.
It's a lot of seeds.
So see how it's getting, what's left is the seeds, basically, and everything that's come out is just the sauce. So you're basically just straining it. Just like for those that don't like orange juice with all the pulp, this is basically what you're doing. Just getting rid of all the extra skin and stuff that you don't want.
So let me see that. See that plus all the seeds.
So you can see all the little seeds and
Dang.
the pulp from the chili. So you keep doing that. I'm going to pour some more in. I'm going to keep straining it, so it's a lot faster when you put the spoon in there than doing it by yourself. You can see this coming down. Smells good. I wish you guys could smell this with smell-o-vision. It actually, a tip is that this same sauce can be used when making enchiladas. That'll be our next video. I'll show you how to make some fresh enchiladas with this same homemade sauce. So if you're trying to save money in the kitchen and one day you want to make tamales, just make extra sauce so that the following day you can make enchiladas. Hey, that'll help you save money and have things pre-prepared for the next day.
It's cool. Like you can see how the spoon's working because when you press against this side that the camera's on, you can see all the juice just come out. It's really cool.
It's coming through really good. See, you think that there's nothing left, but there really is. There we go. Let's add some more. Let's add the last of the chili. And strain the rest of it out.
Something cool like that. Okay.
Okay. So here's the rest of it, you guys. And this should be enough for like I said, about 8 pounds of either chicken or pork. If you want to do shredded beef, but I gotta say my favorite is the pork. But those that don't like pork can use the chicken. As you saw, the blender was full all the way to the top. That should be more than sufficient sauce to put in with the meat that you've cooked and shredded. Okay, so once you're done that, then what you want to do is you're going to take your shredded beef or meat, pork or chicken, and you're going to actually put it back on the stove, and you're going to heat it back up. Okay, because you've given it time to cool off. Okay guys, I think we're done with this. I think there's not much left in there. Okay, let me show you what this looks like for those that are chili lovers. Really, everything that you're putting in your tummy. Look at this. Look at this. Can you see all that? That's really stuff that you really don't need in your stomach. That's more upsetting to your stomach than any good. So I don't tend to keep it in my foods when I cook. I strain the foods. And really what you're left with in the bottom of your pot is the healthy food. So there's our sauce. It's all good and ready to go.
It's like pure seeds almost.
Alright, so now you've got your meat cooking. As you can see, I was busy making tamales today, so I've got some meat here. Not too much, unfortunately, to show you. But this is pork, and I shredded it really good. So what I do is I pour this sauce in. Okay, again, you're going to just eyeball it, depending on how much meat you ended up with. You pour this sauce in little by little because you don't want it to be too runny. You want it just enough so that it has enough juice, as you can see. And then you're going to simmer it, turn the heat back on until it starts bubbling. That gives the meat a chance to absorb the chili. Okay, and then once you're done, you let that sit for a minute. And you get to the next place, which we'll show you next, is how to actually make the tamales. You've done all the hard work, which is the prep work. The vegetables, the chilies, everything that you put in the blender. We cooked our meat ahead of time and we shredded it. Now we've put the sauce that we made. And now we're going to let that simmer and set aside. And we're going to get ready to start the tamales. Alright guys, so now we're going to get started, and we're going to start working on actually making the tamales. So what I have here is actually, I actually, to make it a little quicker for myself, I didn't make the masa myself. Actually, you can buy the masa at any tortilla store or Mexican store. They usually have this definitely ready to go and fresh during Christmas seasons or holidays. It's, as you can see, it was fresh, and I'll show you what I do with it. I'm going to open up the bag here. I'm going to put some out in my bowl. Okay, depending on how much you're going to use, usually I'll pour the whole bag out, but just to show you, I'm just going to pull out a little bit. What I like to do is I like to season the masa with a little bit of flavor, so it's not just bland. It adds some taste to it. So what I've done is when I cook the meat, I actually save the leftover juices, okay, the leftover flavors from the meat. And what I do is I just pour in just a little bit, even with the little bit of oil that's layered on top. That's actually going to give it some flavor, so you don't want to get rid of it. So I'm just going to incorporate that into the masa. Again, depending on how much, usually this is a 7-pound bag. I use the whole thing, and I end up making about 6 dozen tamales. So I just put in a little. It looks a little runny, but it's all good. Because as you're working the masa on the husk, you'll see why it's beneficial for it to be like this. Okay, so as you know, we season that when we cook the meat, so it's got salt and garlic, so it's going to give a nice taste to it. And that's basically it. Not too much. Again, depending on how much masa you're using, will depend on how much of the juice that you make. Okay, so now that's ready to go. I'll clean my hands off. And while I've been doing that, actually, you'll see to the front here, you see the corn husks. I've actually pulled them out, and we actually can buy those also from the store. Grocery stores, you can buy them like this. They just come in bags. It's a pretty good amount. And you want to do is you want to soak them in warm water, as warm as you can get it, and that helps to soften up the husks. Okay, once those are soft enough, then you want to pull them out. And then you're going to put them on a platter so they're nice and dry. Okay, because you don't want all the water on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the husks that I have, and I'm going to squish them so I can get as much of the water out of them. But as you can see, they're really pliable and soft now. I'm going to lay them on paper so that they dry a little bit. Okay. You just try and dry them off a little, just pat them off. Okay, so then now we're ready to go with the tamales. Just going to grab a spoon, and that's how you're going to actually use the back side of the spoon. Notice I didn't use the front of it. Just use the back side. I'm going to find one of my husks here. And what you want to look for carefully on the husk, if you can see close enough, this side is soft to the touch. This side is rougher. This is the outside. You want to make sure you use the soft side, because that way it helps to put it on. It also helps for it to come off when you're ready to eat. So I'm going to take this amount. I'm going to put it on there. You just put it in the palm of your hand and just work it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. And your hands are clean. You can just scrape it right back off your hands. And that one's ready to go. Now this was a little small, so I'm going to look for another little piece. And then as you're getting some of these smaller pieces, you can actually put them together and create a bigger tamale. So again, I'm patting it a little bit dry. This is the soft side. Grab some more of your masa. You're going to go ahead and put some more on the next one there. Okay. Okay, and so now I'm ready to actually put this tamale together. I put them together because, like I said, the leaf was a little small, so I made it a little bigger. Now I'm going to grab the meat that I have. And now you're ready actually to put it in. Grab a spoonful. You don't need too much because it goes a long way. So you spread it out evenly as best as you can. Then you fold it over. You fold it over. It helps to keep the meat inside. And then you fold the bottom. This is the only part that you're going to have that's coming out. As you can see the meat inside there. Yum meat. If you could smell it, it smells really good. So set it down for now and you're on to your next one. Okay. And you keep working them until you use up all your masa. Okay. You're just going to keep making them until they're good. Okay, like I said, this will make you about 5 or 6 dozen, depending on how big or how small you like to make them. If you have a big family, I'd suggest make them medium size so you have plenty for the family. Let's see, here's another meat. Pull it over. This is going to be a little smaller, but that could be for the little kids. You know, they never finish what they eat, so if you want to make them smaller just for them, it's a perfect size. There you go. Okay, so you keep going till all your husks are done and all your masa is gone, or meat, whatever comes first. Either you run out of meat first or you run out of the masa. It just depends. I like to have a good amount of masa on my tamales. Sometimes it's a little tricky, but you know what? You get the hang of it. And you'll see the corn hairs coming off. You can just pull those out. Those don't hurt you, even if they stay in. Okay. Ooh, that's going to be a nice big one. I think we need to add more on that one, so I'm going to add another husk on that one. That was a bit more fuller than I wanted. Okay, you need to make sure it doesn't come out, or else your pot's going to end up being a mess. Okay, I'm going to put that on the bottom. Oops. There we go. Now we can fold it with no problems because it has something to fall back on. Fold it over and then bend it over. So there you go. You just keep going, and that's your tamales. That's how they're going to go. All right, you guys. So just for show purposes, I've made up at least about half a dozen here. There's 5 here, and here's actually the rest of them that I've made. So what I like to do is I like to cook them not all at the same time, so I usually put them in a freezer bag, about a dozen each, and you can put the rest, away from the different time. Just put them in your freezer, and there you go. You're ready for whenever company comes over. But let's cook the ones that we made. So as you can see, depending on how many you made, you either need a big pot or you need a small one. We have a small one here. And what I did is I basically got something that's going to help so that the tamales will stand. So I put this little guy, I don't know if you guys know what this is, but this is a grinder that we use to make chili from a molcajete. Anybody familiar with these? So again, if you have a big pot, you can actually use this very thing and stick it upside down in the big pot. But we're using a small pot. So we're going to use just the grinder. And then what I'm adding to the pot is a small lid, which actually helps keep it off the floor, off the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to line up the tamales. As you can see, you want to make sure that they're standing just a little bit so that the water doesn't seep inside. Just put them in. Okay. Okay, and that's all we have. We just have a few in there for you, just to show you. And then you just keep going, depending on how many you have. And then what you want to do is, you want these to cook by steam. So I've got just some regular water. I'm going to pour on the side. Try not to get it inside the tamales, so you put it on the side so that there's enough water so that's going to steam. And they will finish cooking by steam. Alright, so let's get this on the stove. Okay, so now we're ready to cook them. So what I'm doing here, obviously, is we got the tamales on the stove. You're going to put them at, I want to say medium, almost medium high, because you want them to really get started to boil. Once the water is boiling, then you want to turn it down to at least 3.5 and let them cook with the steam. What I like to do if you're in a hurry is I like to grab just like a kitchen towel that's nice and clean, and I actually like to put them on top, so it helps keep the steam inside, and that way they'll cook quicker. So I'm going to put that inside, cover them up, and then we're going to let them steam. And that's usually, depending on how much you have, if you have a big pot, you're going to let it cook for about an hour. This small amount, maybe 20 minutes, if that. So we'll let them cook and we'll come back in 20. Alright, you guys, I think we're good. I turned it down. Nice and steamy. It's a little hot, so be careful. Whoop, like I just did. I think they're good. I'm going to turn these off, and then you want to let them cool off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pull one out. They're still a little mushy, but that's because you need to let them cool. So I'm going to pull them out so you can see them after they cool off. Then they're going to get a little more stiff. That means they're ready to eat. And that's your tamales. So there you have it. I want to show you one, so I'm going to open one up. They're hot, you guys, so be careful. Definitely suggest you let them cool off. See how the masa has come together? Okay. Ooh, they just peel off, and that's because of the broth that we use for the meat in the masa. See how it comes together nicely? That way it pulls off really easy. Pull off the rest of the husk. Whoop. They're still a little warm. And there is your old-fashioned Mexican pork tamale. It needs to be cooled off more. It is obviously too warm because it is not pulling out like it's supposed to. But once you let it cool off, and these will come off really, really easily, you guys. So as you can see. Okay. Let's have a taste tester. Some of the tamale, the pork. All right. How do we like it? Blow, it's hot. Pop.
Tastes like Mama's cooking. Yum,
And
yum.
there you have it, you guys. It's a lot of work, but sure is worth it, and it sure is really tasty, as you can see. Tamale. There's the masa mix with the pork inside, and you can see it. The chili sauce from the meat actually incorporates into the masa, so you can see how it's gotten the redness. It's absorbed into the masa, which makes it really, really good. Happy eating. Let him take the taste test and tell you if he honestly likes these homemade tamales. Here you go, Vic. Pestvic.
Dude, it's like so tender. It's so bomb. You have no idea. You guys have to make this.
You think it'd be so spicy because of the chilies we used, but it's like perfect. Well, maybe, I don't know, some people might not like it, but.
Are you ready for your taste? Here you go. Until next time.